You've probably heard of the popular song by Jay-Z and Alicia Keys. New York City is a concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do, where the streets will make you feel brand new and the light will inspire you. And this is how it inspired Adam and Miguel to build Wework. If you're in the startup world, you must know about Wework. Chances are you're actually sitting in one right now. Now let's meet Adam and Miguel. These guys noticed that new startup founders had difficulty getting a place to bring their ideas to life. Traditional offices were just so big and so expensive, and of course they weren't agreeing to short-term use. They braced up and decided to change how things ran. Prior to now, if you had a startup or a small business with a small team, or you were working solo, you had to make do with a warm and cozy sit at Starbucks with other strangers who didn't care that you were trying to change the world or make some money, or both. Anyway, Adam and Miguel decided to fill this gap by creating space for big dreamers, disruptors, and innovators. It was more than a workspace. It was a place where anyone could share ideas with others and have meaningful connections. And guess what made this even better? You didn't have to lease an office long term to be able to use one. You could literally pay for the number of hours or days or weeks that you needed to use the space. Before we go on, let's find out a little bit about Adam's quirks. Now, if you're watching this, you probably are keen on being updated with business or startup stories, and you might know that innovators and creators of disruptive tech are usually not normal. They typically have unique traits, habits, and philosophies. Steve Jobs is known for his fruitarian diet and walking around on barefoot. Elon Musk is known for creating controversy through Twitter and his plan to colonize Mars. Zuckerberg is known for eating meat from only animals he killed. Jack Dorsey is known for meditation and intermittent fasting and routine ice baths. I could go on, but you get the point. Adam has a distinct presence and charm and unconventional habits, and this became the driving force behind Wework. It wasn't just the face of the company, it was a spirit, from hosting lavish parties with famous artists, indulgence in tequila shots, to harboring grand ambitions that spanned from achieving immortality to colonizing Mars. His vision for Wework was as boundless as his dreams. Adam and Miguel created a shared office space in Dumbo called Green Desk. They set up about 100 spots for people to work and charged them between $350 to $2,400 a month to use them. The idea was a hit. They quickly sold Green Desk to the building's owner, and then they used this big chunk of money to open up a new spot in Soho in 2010. They call this new place, you guessed it, Wework. This is where Adam's talent for getting money really started to show. In that same year, a big shot property owner in Manhattan, Joel Schreiber, put $15 million into Wework, about 1/3 of the company. This meant that Wework was already worth $45 million right after that deal. Big names like JP Morgan, the Harvard Corporation, and billionaire Mort Zuckerman came on board as investors with a huge $150 million funding round that finished in 2014. This big investment made the company's value shoot up to $1.5 billion. By 2014, Wework had 51 locations in the US, Europe, and Israel, and the brand announced plans to expand to every continent on the globe, with the exception of Antarctica by 2017. In 2016, it was worth a staggering $10 billion and was dubbed one of the most innovative companies in the world. In financial markets, this is known as a unicorn, meaning a rare once-in-a-lifetime investment. And by the end of 2016, Wework announced that it had raised more than $1.7 billion in private capital. So I'm sure you're wondering what exactly happened. Why don't we have a Wework on Mars? What exactly happened? And I found out why. It was the hype. The hype worked well in getting them to this point, but it just couldn't sustain them. And the hype simply was Wework insisted on being perceived and marketing itself as a tech company rather than a real estate, and this led to a mismatch in expectations and financial realities. It made pretty bold claims of trying to change the world, called its office spaces physical social networks, as opposed to, well, offices, which they most definitely were. Tech companies and startups are seen in a special light compared to traditional businesses because of the potential they have for the future. When evaluating traditional businesses, we focus on things like their assets, revenue, and profits. These figures are available for publicly traded companies, and they often follow a predictable pattern. Take Amazon as an example. In 2018, Amazon reported making $232 billion from its products and services, yet it only had $10 billion left as profits after covering all its expenses. Despite this relatively small profits, Amazon was valued at a whopping $820 billion. How come? Amazon isn't just any company, it's a tech company, and its value lies in growth and diversification into areas like e-commerce, grocery delivery, streaming, and cloud services. A significant part of the internet relies on Amazon's infrastructure, and it's still expanding. Investors put their money in Amazon, betting on its future profitability. Tech ventures often yield higher returns than traditional businesses when they sell products or services. Amazon's strategy is to grow, and investors are supportive, anticipating future gains. This highlights the unique position of tech companies. They attract investments more easily because of the excitement around their future possibilities, not merely their current operations. That's also why Wework was eager to be perceived as a tech company. Tech firms are considered innovative and find it easier to raise capital. And of course, because of this, Wework had problems. The company's insistence on being perceived as a tech entity rather than a real estate firm led to a mismatch in expectations and financial realities. Wework faced the traditional hurdles of a real estate business, including the financial strain of long-term leases contrasted with the flexibility offered to its clients. Their business strategy was falling apart because they were renting spaces for a long time and then renting them out to others for short periods. People could rent a desk for as little or as much time as they wanted, but Wework had to pay the full rent for the space no matter what. This caused the company to start losing a lot of money. The issues that Wework had weren't just company focused. There were also leadership problems involved. Neumann was also causing problems. He sold shares for his own profits and rented out his own building to build Wework. This made him both the owner and the renter at the same time. Many people started to think that Neumann was the only one making money from Wework, and of course that's bad for business. Everything started to fall apart for Wework in 2019 when they tried to go public with an initial public offering. Initially, they were thought to be $47 billion, but when people took a closer look at their financial situation, it turned out Wework was really worth only $10 billion. The company had lost $2 billion in 2018 alone. Within just 6 weeks, Wework went from sky-high valuations to the brink of bankruptcy. This led to the unraveling of the Wework illusion, as the company faced numerous lawsuits that year, many of which dealt with issues of race and gender discrimination as well as sexual harassment. In response, Neumann began selling his highly controversial private jets. Then the company got rid of 20 of the founder's family and friends, including his wife Rebecca, who were on the payroll. This was followed by massive layoffs, around 20% of its workforce. By the end of the year, Neumann had been removed as CEO, and SoftBank, Wework's major backer, took over. Wework is still around today, but it was already struggling even before the pandemic hit. Several of its locations have shut down, hundreds more jobs have been cut, and by May 2021, it was reported that Wework had lost an additional $2 billion and 70% of its members. And that's the story of Wework. That's the story of how a company started from being valued at $47 billion to having to cancel their IPO. All we can say is that we're really just going to have to wait and see how things work with Wework, no pun intended. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. If you're interested in more about tech startup stories, their successes, failures, and everything in between, please subscribe to this channel. I'll see you next week. Bye.